Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Against the Fence. This is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC, and this is the Fan Can segment, and I'm joined with Liam, and we've just literally watched John Jones defeat Cyril Gane, and he's become a two-weight champion, and he's the new heavyweight champion. What is your thoughts on the event, Liam, and how are you?
I'm very good. I loved the event basically from start to finish, and Jones just topped it off
Yeah,
in style. To be honest, like coming back after 3 years and doing that, it was just incredible. Um,
made it look easy, right?
he did, yeah. Like it looked like Gane shouldn't have been in there against him, which is crazy to say.
Crazy, yeah, exactly, yeah. What was your fight of the night on the main card?
Um, it's a close one. I probably wouldn't give it to Jones and Gane one just because it was
Yeah,
just over like that. I'd
yeah,
probably go Rachmanov and Neil to be honest.
yeah. It's the same as what we
Um,
had it as well.
yeah, like I just wasn't really anticipating Neil to hang in there for so long, I suppose,
Yeah.
especially with the weight miss and things like that.
Mm.
Um, I kind of thought Rachmanov would walk through him. Like it was
Yeah.
interesting to see Rachmanov going that distance, even because he kind of showed a few flaws himself. I thought, like he kind of stayed in the
Mm.
pocket too long at times after
Yes,
throwing his own combos.
exactly what we were saying, mate. Exactly what we were saying. I was saying that obviously Rachmanov, being a long ranger striker, should have been taking his shots from obviously at range, and
Yeah,
at times he was just trying to grab Neil into closer distance, try and grab him in a tie clinch, and I was thinking we don't want to do that against someone like Neil, and obviously Neil did crack him a few times, and obviously, like you said there, we've seen a few things from Rachmanov that we haven't seen before. One, obviously, he's got a decent chin, and
yeah,
two, we've seen him go nearly the distance, but we've seen him in a third round. So, again,
yeah.
props to him. Another finish, 17 wins, and obviously 17 finishes. You can't speak nothing highly of him.
I know, and even on that finish, like it was fairly unorthodox the way he
Yes, it
got it.
was.
Like
It
there must
was.
be
It
some
was.
serious torque in that choke.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah. What was your thoughts, obviously, on the co-main event? Obviously, we have Valentina
Yeah.
Shevchenko, obviously losing the belt to Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso being the first Mexican woman to be champion. Crazy.
Yeah, I think it's just Mexico's year, really.
No, that's what I mean.
Like they're just winning everything.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think a lot of it did come down to her changing to southpaw because, like,
Yes.
Valentina loves her body kick from the
Mm.
opposite stance, and she just couldn't do it. And the other thing she
Mm.
likes kind of stepping in with a 1-2 and kind of fading to the right.
Mm.
And when they were in the same stances, she just couldn't do her two main moves, and
Yeah.
she seemed quite uncomfortable to be honest. Like her jab got going in the fourth round quite well, I thought.
Yeah.
But other than that, on the feet, Grasso was much quicker, even in the pocket, landing 2 or 3 punch combos and getting back out. Like
Mm.
she did well in the grappling in the middle 2 rounds.
Yeah.
But she was even forcing the grappling at times.
But that's what I mean. Like some of the takedowns attempts from Shevchenko didn't look like Shevchenko. And I was saying to the
No,
boys during the watch along, like, I usually see Shevchenko more active on the feet and more aggressive, and all. She's the one throwing the strikes on her opponents, not the other way around. And Grasso was seen, like you said, there seems to get in close, land her combinations, doing well on the feet, and making Shevchenko go for the takedowns.
yeah, like she was backing her up to the fence a lot. Grasso was. She was holding the
Yeah.
center. Like normally, Shevchenko comes back a foot or two, but then kind of springs back in, and she
Mm.
just didn't seem to have it. Like, but then again, she probably was winning the fight when Grasso did get the choke at the same
Yeah.
time. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first was
It was close.
close.
It was close.
Round
It
two
was a
and
close
three
fight.
probably did go to Shevchenko. So um, but yeah, I don't know. She seemed to get the choking quite quick, and like it wasn't even under the chin.
Yeah,
Do you know? I
yeah,
kind of
we
thought
saw
with
we saw we
Shevchenko,
saw the
yeah,
replay at the end, just as before we obviously came live for this. We saw
yeah,
it was on the chin, and the mark and the talk that it
yeah,
had. Literally, her face was red, and you saw the
yeah,
arm mark. But yeah, 100% right, mate. It was on the chin. It just have been.
yeah,
It might have been either too much of a squeeze or just uncomfortable. But hats off to Grasso though. Like you said there,
definitely.
making Shevchenko go for the takedown. Usually, whenever Shevchenko fights, she makes her opponents fight her fight.
Mm.
Basically, Grasso, with her great striking, great combinations, and the pressure, made Shevchenko fight her fight by shooting for the takedowns, not on her terms.
Yeah, and I think if they do have a rematch, like Grasso still have has areas of improvement. Like her takedown defense, it
Mm,
wasn't the best either.
yeah.
So like she can only get better, like as well. So that'll be an interesting rematch. I presume
Yeah,
it will
oh
happen
yeah,
next.
yeah. But this is the thing I was saying to the guys as well. Like, UFC Mexico has got to happen. Like, you've obviously got the champion in Brandon Moreno, now a champion in Grasso, and obviously Yair Rodriguez being interim champion, obviously to fight Alexander Volkanovski. Three
Mm.
title fights on the line in Mexico. Book it.
Yeah. And you got Irina, is it Aldana as well?
Yeah,
She's meant
yeah,
to be
exactly.
fighting
Yeah,
Nunes, like,
yeah,
so
that's what I mean. Could you imagine 4 title fights in UFC
yeah,
Mexico? It's got to happen now. And
yeah.
but like, do you agree with what we were saying with the guys earlier? Is like you could see before this fight. Well, actually, I wouldn't say before this fight. I'd say before the Santos fight, how far Shevchenko was above her division. Do you
Yeah.
think that the division's creeping up on her, or do you think that Shevchenko's kind of not as good as she was?
I think it's more the division is probably creeping up. I think
Mm,
she's kind of peaked and she's still at that peak.
yeah,
But like if you even look at a lot of the fighters from 5 years ago, the skill level has gone through the roof. Like, and the younger
yeah,
fighters that are coming through are skilled everywhere.
yeah,
Whereas a lot of the more veteran or established fighters,
yeah.
they're just not improving at the same pace. Like,
100%. And obviously, we got to give it to the sport that we love, and the evolution of MMA in general is just you can see it's leaps and bounds and always improving, and that's why we love the sport. And I was going to say that the improvements that Grasso has made as well, and like you said there, I think it's definitely the division moving towards Shevchenko's level, and like you've got the likes of Manuel Ferro in there, you've got the likes of Erin Blanchfield, and I think even like we were saying as well, I think that we thought that Blanchfield was going to be the one to take the belt off of Shevchenko, and if Grasso can do that with her grappling credentials, Blanchfield's a step above Grasso in the grappling department, in my opinion. So
yeah,
if Grasso can do that to Shevchenko, what's Blanchfield going to do? And obviously, the sky's the limit with Blanchfield because her striking's always improving, but her grappling's the main aspect of her fighting style. So I can't wait to see her fight again, see what's next for her. But obviously, we're going to see the rematch between obviously Valentina and Grasso, hopefully in Mexico.
yeah. Hopefully, yeah. I
Yeah,
suppose
that'd be class.
who do you think Blanchfield will get? Do you think they'll do the Santos rematch then again, or like not the rematch, but they'll rebook
Yeah,
the Santos fight? I
I
suppose.
think it's the fight to make,
Yeah,
and it all depends what Manuel Ferro, because Manuel Ferro's in the
yeah,
mix as well, and it's crazy. Like you've got a little triangle between them three. Any one of them could fight any one of them, if you get what I mean.
yeah, yeah,
So it all depends what happens, but one of them, whoever fights next and wins that, is 100% next.
yeah. I think my only sad thing about really Shevchenko losing is I don't know will he get that Amanda Nunes third match now?
Yes, because that's
Like
what everyone was
they're
arguably saying, weren't they?
yeah, because they're both kind of at the ends of their career,
Yeah,
and like the time is kind of diminishing on it. Like if you wait
yeah.
another year or two, I just don't think it's going to have that same pull.
Mm.
Because like Nunes is even like that first Pena fight wasn't great for her.
Yeah,
I
no,
know
yeah,
she
that's what I
bounced
mean.
back, but
Mm.
I don't know is the hunger still there either.
Yeah,
So I think that
yeah.
might be one that might fall away now, but
Yeah,
who knows?
100%. It's crazy that there's always fights like that that could materialize or could have been talked about or even happen. Like you think back to obviously when it was like GSP versus Anderson Silva
Yeah.
and things like that. They're the fights that just got away from you. But just before I move on to the main event, we're 100% going to have the rematch. Oh, we spoke about Manuel Fro. That's fine. What did you think of John Jones? We spoke briefly of it just at the start, but coming back after 3 years, I was about to say coming up, putting a performance, but that's what I was going to say. The slight little adjustments and the slight little mistakes from anyone in this game is costly. Like just before I get into the main event, obviously, Shevchenko throwing a spinning kick up against the cage was a little
Mm.
bit sloppy
Yeah.
because if you're going to throw a technique like that, it's got to be in the middle of the octagon, so you've got space to obviously get out either side, if you
Yeah.
get what I mean. And obviously, Grasso, fair play to her, capitalised on that. And then I'll jump into the main event now. So, like, Gane leaped in with a straight left, and then John Jones capitalised on that mistake.
Yeah, definitely. And like he got to the back straight away. And once he got to the
Yes.
back, he was never giving up his control. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know Gan kind of half scrambled back to the feet,
Yeah.
but Jones was in full control of that at all stages, really. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he got him to the cage and straight basically into mount. Like,
But that's what
and
I
he did the
mean.
same to Ryan Bader when he
Yeah.
beat him,
Mm-hmm.
like before he won the title. It was a very similar choke.
Mm.
Um, and like he has them long levers, so like he's able to get the arm around and get in the guillotine, whereas
Mm.
other probably heavyweights wouldn't be able to do it. They just wouldn't
Yeah.
have that same leverage and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I was looking back through his fights, like I did a video on my channel on him,
Yeah.
and it was the exact same basically as the Ryan Bader choke. Like he
Wow.
basically set on him by the cage and just sank it in. And yeah, like Gan had no hope at that stage.
Yeah, but
Gan
that's
had to avoid the
yeah,
grappling like at all
that's
costs.
100%. You're spot on, and obviously that was the main thing going into the fight. Was obviously going to be the John Jones grappling advantage on someone like Cyril Gane. And we were saying as well before the fight that Jones he's got quite a big demeanor, and with the Reyes fight, at like heavyweight, everyone was saying how good Reyes' striking was, and then but John Jones tried to strike with Reyes, and obviously we all saw how good and how dominant in that fight kind of Reyes was, and we all thought that he was going to do the same to Gane because he's jumping up to heavyweight and try and strike with the striker in Gane and not use that wrestling early, try and get it into the later rounds and then use his wrestling. But obviously the opportunity and the instinct of John Jones, when he saw that mistake, he had to jump on it.
Yeah. But he seemed hungry again, like, and
Yes.
even from the start, he was pushing the action. He was the kind of one initiating, pushing Gane back. Like, I think in the end of his last run, like, he just didn't seem to really want to finish fights. It was like he was in there, he's playing it safe. But like, it was like back to that kind of 2011, 2012 spell where he just wanted to take every fighter out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
He seemed to just really want it, like, and like he was aggressive from the off. So like, it was good to see. And even in the walk-in, he seemed to be pumped going in there.
Yeah,
there was
he was
no
so
like,
pumped, wasn't he? Yeah.
yeah. Like my one fear, right, was when they started ripping off the tape off his toe and things like that. Was that going to deter him?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? Like, obviously, sitting next to me thought there was something wrong with his shorts, but yeah, it seemed to be something wrong with the tape. But they kept it on a toe, but they just didn't have it on the ankle. Well,
yeah, like I don't know if you remember that toe from the Salmon fight. It was rotten.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. That was nasty.
It must be bad if he still needs to tape it up. Like,
well, yeah, so, that's it. But taking enough away from John Jones, obviously, would you call him the GOAT?
I think you nearly have to at this stage. Like, I know he's had his indiscretions to put it mildly, but like when I did the tape review on him, just even looking at that 2011 year and 2012 year, just putting the two of them together on their own, you could nearly give it to him.
Oh, 100%.
Like he had a bit of a blip, but even within that blip, like against the likes of Anthony Smith in particular, he absolutely dominated him. Like, so, like 2 or 3 fights out of 15 title fights in a row now. Like, I think you kind of have to. There's no one really near him.
Yeah, it's 100% it. It's like to be fair, you could have given it to him, like you said, even before this heavyweight adventure, as I say. But doing this now and becoming a heavyweight champion, and I think if he beats Stipe, like, because arguably Stipe is the best heavyweight champion that we've had so far. So if he goes out there and arguably he could get another submission win or even stop Stipe, then even though there's no questions at the moment asked, but could you imagine he goes out there and stops Stipe? Just
Do you think Stipe has a chance against him, or how do you see it?
I think it's a lot closer because Stipe's got a little bit of wrestling background in himself, which I think he could maybe stuff a few takedowns. But I just think the size of Jones, even still, we saw the size of him there, and he's obviously moving up a weight. He looks huge. So, and obviously Stipe's not the biggest of heavyweights, if you get what I mean. So, I think if Jones gets a hold of him, I think his weight could just get him down without his technique of takedowns. Because everyone was saying that that just the size of Ngannou got Gane down, if you get what I mean. There was no technique involved. It was just pure like strength and size that managed to sort of control Gane and get him down. That could be the tail end against Jones versus Stipe, but it's still an interesting fight because obviously Miocic has got that wrestling background, and obviously we all saw in the first fight what Stipe done to Ngannou, taking him down for fun. So it's a more interesting fight than Jones versus Gane. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to it, to be fair, but I think Curtis Blades is still the fight if he can get through Pavlovich. I think that could be the big test.
Yes.
Like Miocic is well rounded, like, but I don't know, does he got the power to take Jones out, or like the speed and the power, I suppose, combined to get to Jones in the first place and then take him out? And I think Jones' wrestling will take over as the fight progresses. Whereas Blades can wrestle for days, really. Like,
he can.
He'll fatigue a bit, like, but he won't. Yeah, he will wrestle all day. Whereas Pavlovich is just, he'll either land the straight punches or he won't.
That's what I mean. Obviously, we've said for a while now that Curtis Razor Blades is a dark horse in his division, just because he's so athletic, and like you said, he would just take you down for fun, and he's obviously got that power as well, and it could be if he gets through Pavlovich. Could you imagine John Jones versus Curtis Razor Blades? That'd be a great matchup stylistically.
Yeah, definitely. Like you'd imagine. would Jones want to keep it on the feet, or would he want to prove he's a better wrestler?
Yeah,
It's hard to know
exactly.
with him.
That's what I'm trying to say with the ego
Yeah,
of John Jones. Like,
yeah,
obviously, I thought he would try and stand with Gane, but
yeah,
obviously, like I said, he took the opportunity with a mistake from Gane. But yeah, exactly. I could guarantee now the ego of John Jones, he will try and out wrestle Curtis Razor Blade 100%.
yeah. And like if he gets another defense under the belt, his ego is going to come back
Yeah, that's what.
more
Well,
and more and more.
I don't know how long he's going to stick around for. If you know what I mean. I know he's
Yeah.
obviously come back after 3 years, but arguably, like you've got to finish on top. If he goes out there and beats Stipe,
Yeah.
he could hang the gloves up and just walk away to go. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised 'cause I think the motivation will go quick again because
Yeah.
it's not an exactly deep division. There's
Yes.
two or three fights there,
Yeah.
and even at that, like Blades or Pavlovich are going to take the other out of the
Yeah. Yeah.
equation. So that's
Yeah.
another one gone. Like
Exactly.
then you're left with maybe a Tom Aspinall outside of that, but
Yeah.
he must
Exactly.
still come back from his injury and stuff. Like so,
Yes.
there's
And
not a
I'm glad
deep
he's
division
taking. I'm
there.
glad he's taking his time with the recovery of his injury, Tom Aspinall. That is because obviously everyone was trying to get him on the UFC London card or try and rush him back, but obviously, well, I think it was his knee. Again, you can't rush any injury like that back, and obviously being a
Yeah.
heavyweight and the way he moves as well, you can't rush anything like that back.
Yeah, and it seemed to be a pre-existing one as well. So like there's
Yes.
probably a fair amount of damage there, like
Yeah.
not definitely take a good time to come back.
100%. Just before we wrap this up, then I can't leave you without speaking about Ian Gary.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't watch his performance, but I saw he got a TKO. Was it second round? Was it
No, third round, I
third round? But
believe. It's a long time ago now since I watched that fight. Yeah,
uh,
it's the end of the third round. Um,
did he look good at all? Did he?
he looked fairly well. He got caught, I
Mm,
think, was at the end of the first with a left hook.
mm,
It set him down.
okay.
If Keenan, was it Keenan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keenan Song, if he left him stand back up, he probably could have taken him out
Mm,
because I think there was around a minute left in the first round and he
yeah.
was still on wobbly legs going back to the corner. But I suppose outside of that, he kept him at the end of his jab.
Yeah.
He used the leg kicks very well.
Mm,
And your man couldn't really get into him. Like I think he only landed, that was his only, I suppose, punch
yeah.
of note. And then he kind of went in for the kill in the final
Mm,
round and got it. Like he
yeah.
looked quite good, but Keenan Song didn't offer much outside of that one left hook, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't much grappling exchanges.
Yeah.
He kind of just got stuck at the end of the jab. And his left, I think was his left eye was absolutely like a balloon at the end of the
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
So I think the referee kind of stepped in
Mm.
at the end just to kind of save him because he just shelled up on the ground.
Yeah, well, he moves on.
That's
Again,
it.
he's still got a hype behind him, and obviously getting a finish nonetheless. Obviously, he's come back from adversity. You
Yeah.
can't knock him for that. And again, he's going to move on, and his stock will rise. Um, do you have a potential matchup for him, or
I don't, but he was
no?
hoping to get on the Miami carriages in three or
Ah,
4 weeks or 5 weeks time.
mm-hmm.
So they might get kind of a quick turnaround for him.
Yeah,
I think with another win or two, they might somewhat come back to Ireland, hopefully, and he might headline a card.
yeah. Could you
Um,
imagine?
but I don't see anyone else doing it because McGregor's too big to do it
Yes.
at the moment anyway. So
Hmm.
he's the next hope, I suppose, for us to have a big headliner back in Dublin.
Well, that's
I
it.
presume they will come back soon enough.
I might as well before we go, I might as well ask you because we had so many submissions on this card on the main card. What was your
Yeah,
submission of the night?
submission of the night. Quickly run through it.
Yeah. So we had
Try and
Rangmanov
think.
with his choke. We had
Yeah.
John Jones with his unorthodox choke. We had Grasso with her rear naked choke, and then we had Bo Nickel with his head and arm choke.
Um, I think
Yes,
I'd
it's
have to go.
hard.
Yeah, mm, probably. I'd probably go Shavkat just because it was so unorthodox and it was just
Yeah.
pure brute force. And even the
Mm.
way he kind of hooked
Yeah. Put
was
his
it the
leg
left leg
over.
around the front.
Yes.
Yeah, he kind
It
of
was
brought it
so
around the front
smart.
to really stop him from coming.
Yes, 100%. And that was
Like
like the
it's not a
technique as
technique you
well.
practice. Like
Mm.
it was kind of I'd say it was a lot of it was improvised. So I think
Yeah.
just for that improvisation, I'd probably
Yeah.
go him. I think Bo Nickel just did what he wanted really.
Yeah,
Like there were
he did what he wanted to do. Got it to the
yeah.
mat and does what he does best. To be fair to him, he did struggle trying to get a head and arm choke. He had to readjust a couple of times.
He did, but I think he stayed patient with it though. Like,
Yes.
I'm not sure was there a grind strike though at the start of it. I know
Yeah.
was it Jamie Pickett's corner have come out
Yeah.
after saying they're going to appeal the loss. So let's see what comes.
God, really? I didn't hear that. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
I think
crazy.
there's a knee in the clinch, which kind of started it all, and perhaps it
Ah,
was low, perhaps it wasn't. I don't know.
that's crazy.
But yeah, but like he is a threat to be fair, because like what I like about him, he's not just a wrestler. Like he has
Mm.
that submission threat. He knows
Yes.
what he's doing. He gets in
Yeah.
his hooks. Whereas a lot of wrestlers, when they first come across, they just wrestle. They take someone
Mm.
down, they're back up, they take him back down. Whereas
Yeah.
he actually gets to control on the ground and he can get finishes from there. So
Hmm.
he's quite a decent threat.
Yeah, 100%. Well then, this has been your fan can segment, and just before we go, we've had two new champions. Obviously, go over it again just to make sure. We have Alexa Grasso being the new flyweight champion, beating Valentina Shevchenko, and then Johnny Bones Jones coming back after a three-year layoff, being crowned the new heavyweight champion, and arguably being the GOAT. Liam, it's been my absolute pleasure speaking with you, and thank you for jumping back on.
Cheers, Ash. And it's always a pleasure talking to you as well.
And take care. Hopefully we'll catch up soon. Yeah.
Perfect.
And
Thanks a million.
just before you go as well, your channel is in the description below, so go and check out Liam's channel. He does great breakdowns.
Perfect. Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.